You've probably heard of them before, that faceless, leaderless collective that emerged from the digital underworld over a decade ago. Anonymous. The name alone sends shivers down the spines of corporations, governments, and anyone unfortunate enough to find themselves in their crosshairs. Born from the chaotic corners of 4chan itself in the mid-2000s, Anonymous transformed from a loose collection of internet pranksters into a global movement of digital vigilantes, with their iconic Guy Fawkes masks and their rallying cry of "We are Legion." They've targeted everyone from Scientology to ISIS, financial institutions to government agencies. But in a twist of fate that nobody saw coming, Anonymous has now turned its attention back to its own birthplace. We don't forgive. We don't forget. Expect us. Those words have never rung more ominously than on April 14th, 2025, when the digital landscape was forever altered. Can you imagine waking up one morning to discover that one of the internet's most notorious cesspools had been turned inside out? That's exactly what happened on that fateful spring day. 4chan, the infamous image board that has been both celebrated as a cradle of internet culture and condemned as a toxic wasteland, suddenly found itself exposed, vulnerable and bleeding data like a digital hemophiliac. Holy shit, did you see what happened to 4chan? The message rippled across Discord servers, Reddit forums, and Twitter feeds. The internet was absolutely losing its mind as word spread about what was quickly being called the most devastating hack in the site's 22-year history. It all began with the mysterious resurrection of a long, dead section of the site. The QA board questions and answers, which had been shuttered years ago, suddenly sprang back to life. But instead of the usual chaotic threads, visitors were greeted with 3 simple words that sent shockwaves through the digital community. "You got hacked." "They never saw it coming," laughed one anonymous operative during an encrypted voice chat later obtained by tech journalists. The very platform that taught the world how to raid and troll just got the ultimate taste of its own medicine. This wasn't your garden variety hack job. As details emerged, the internet collectively gasped at the sheer audacity and patience of the operation. Anonymous, working in conjunction with users from a rival image board called Soy Party, colloquially known as the Sharty, had orchestrated what they dramatically named Operation SOYCLIPSE. Today, April 14, 2025, a hacker who has been inside 4chan's systems for over a year has executed the true SOYCLIPSE campaign, boasted a post on Soy Party. The infiltrator had been lurking undetected within 4chan's infrastructure for more than 12 months, meticulously gathering intelligence before striking. Think about that for a second. For an entire year, someone had been silently moving through 4chan's digital corridors, collecting passwords, mapping vulnerabilities, and preparing for the perfect moment to strike. It's like finding out there's been an invisible stranger living in your house for a year, reading your diary and trying on your clothes when you're not home. The level of patience displayed in this operation is unprecedented, noted cybersecurity expert Eliza Martinez in an interview with Wired. Most hackers go for the quick win, get in, grab what you can, get out. This was different. This was personal. To truly appreciate the significance of this hack, you need to understand the complex ecosystem of image boards that has evolved over the past 2 decades. At the top sits 4chan, once the Wild West of the internet, now considered almost mainstream by the standards of newer, more extreme platforms. Beneath it exists a constellation of splinter sites, each catering to increasingly narrow communities with fewer restrictions. One such site is Soy Party, created in September 2020. This image board specializes in creating and sharing soyjacks, crude cartoon drawings depicting weak or emasculated men, often with exaggerated, surprised, or excited open-mouthed expressions. These images evolved from the Wojak or Feels Guy meme that originated on 4chan years earlier. The rivalry between these communities has simmered for years, with 4chan often looking down on Soy Party users as even more depraved than themselves, while Soy Party views 4chan as having become too sanitized and corporate. This digital territorial war finally erupted into open conflict with Operation SOYCLIPSE. "It's like watching the most toxic family feud in digital history," commented tech journalist Aisha Patel. "Imagine if the Hatfields and McCoys were all extremely online trolls with advanced technical skills and too much free time." Perhaps the most damaging aspect of the hack was the exposure of email addresses belonging to 4chan's moderators, known in the community as janitors or janies. These volunteers are responsible for enforcing the site's minimal rules, removing illegal content, and banning users who cross certain boundaries. The leaked data revealed what many had long suspected. Several moderator email addresses allegedly belonged to .gov, .edu, and corporate domains, suggesting some moderators might be using their work or institutional email addresses to manage one of the most controversial spaces on the internet. This revelation sparked widespread speculation about possible government or academic surveillance of the platform. If true, this leak essentially strips away anonymity from 4chan's administrators, moderators, and janitors, explained Ian Gray, intelligence director at cybersecurity firm Flashpoint. In a community where anonymity isn't just preferred but sacred, this is the ultimate violation. One particularly shocking revelation was the discovery that a prominent moderator for the poll board, notorious for its far-right content, was allegedly using an email address connected to a major university's computer science department. Another moderator was apparently accessing the site through an IP address linked to a federal government building. "You have to understand the irony here," said a former 4chan user who spoke on condition of anonymity. "These are people who preside over a community that prizes anonymity above all else, who have now had their digital masks ripped off in the most public way possible. The psychological impact can't be overstated. According to analysis of the leaked data, the breach appears to have exploited a serious vulnerability in 4chan's infrastructure. The site was allegedly running a severely outdated version of PHP, the programming language that powers much of the web, containing known security flaws that had been patched years earlier. While the Register has not verified the claims, there are allegations that 4chan had been running an outdated version of PHP for nearly a decade and using an obsolete database administration tool, which may have been used to gain access. The Register reported in their coverage of the incident. This outdated software may have provided the initial entry point that allowed the attacker to infiltrate the system and remain undetected for over a year. "I've been saying for years that 4chan was a security nightmare waiting to happen," said cybersecurity expert Marcus Johnson. "They were basically running on digital duct tape and prayers. It's not a question of if they'd get hacked, but when." The leaked files included numerous PHP configuration files, including one named Yotsuba config.ba, a reference to Yotsuba Koiwai, the green-haired character from the manga series Yotsuban, who serves as 4chan's unofficial mascot. This character, with her distinctive 4 pigtails, 4 is Yotsu in Japanese, was chosen as 4chan's mascot early in the site's history, appearing in logos and error pages. This isn't the first time 4chan has been at the center of a major internet conflict. In 2008, the site gave birth to what many consider the first large-scale hacktivist campaign, Project Chanology, after the Church of Scientology attempted to remove a leaked interview of Tom Cruise from YouTube. 4chan users organized under the banner of Anonymous and launched a coordinated campaign against the controversial religious organization. Project Chanology included distributed denial of service attacks on Scientology websites, prank calls, black faxes, and in-person protests outside Scientology centers worldwide, with participants wearing Guy Fawkes masks to protect their identities. The operation is considered successful in drawing public attention to criticisms of Scientology and demonstrating the power of decentralized online activism. "The irony is absolutely delicious," said internet historian Dr. Sarah Kim. Anonymous emerged from 4chan to attack Scientology, and now, years later, elements of Anonymous have turned their skills back against their former home. It's like watching a child grow up to overthrow their own parents. As of April 16, 2025, 4chan remains sporadically available, with users reporting various errors when attempting to access the site. Images fail to load, and entire sections remain inaccessible. The site administrators have presumably taken systems offline to assess the damage and deploy security upgrades. Is this the end of 4chan? Unlikely. Despite its controversial nature, the site has demonstrated remarkable resilience throughout its 2-decade history, weathering storms including legal challenges, advertiser boycotts, and previous security incidents. It has become so deeply embedded in internet culture that its disappearance would leave a significant void in the digital landscape. However, this hack may be the most severe blow to the site's operational security and cultural mystique. The exposure of moderator identities and the site's outdated infrastructure has shattered the aura of technical sophistication and anonymity that 4chan had cultivated for years. I think if anything, they finally got slapped, and they might actually update the site's security. As the original content colorfully stated, this incident may force 4chan to modernize its infrastructure and reassess its moderation operations, potentially changing the nature of the platform in the process. The poetic irony is not lost on observers. 4chan, which gave birth to countless raids, pranks, and attacks on other websites and organizations, has now fallen victim to the very type of chaos it helped normalize on the internet. As the original content noted, "If that isn't poetry, I don't know what is." In the days following the hack, a video appeared on various platforms. The familiar computerized voice spoke over the iconic imagery of the Guy Fawkes mask, addressing not just 4chan but the wider internet. "We are anonymous. We emerged from your chaos. We grew in your shadows. And now we have returned to shine a light on what you have become." 4chan was once a bastion of true internet freedom, chaotic, yes, but authentic. Now it has become a playground for hatred, a breeding ground for radicalization, and a sanctuary for those who would use anonymity, not for truth but for harm. The message continued. Operation SOYCLIPSE is not an end but a beginning, a reminder that no digital fortress is impenetrable, that all secrets eventually come to light. This is not destruction for destruction's sake. It is creative chaos. From the ashes of what we have exposed, perhaps something better can emerge. Remember, the internet never forgets, and neither do we. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us. Whether this was truly from the same individuals who executed the hack or others adopting the anonymous mantle remains unclear. Such is the nature of a leaderless, decentralized movement. Beyond the specific details of this incident, the attack on 4chan illustrates the increasingly complex ecosystem of online communities and the high-stakes conflicts that can erupt between them. What began as niche forums for sharing images and memes have evolved into powerful cultural forces with real-world impacts. The security measures revealed by this breach also highlight a prevalent issue across the internet. Many popular websites operate on outdated infrastructure, creating vulnerabilities that may remain exploitable for years before being discovered. Even platforms with millions of users can harbor serious security flaws if maintenance and updates are not prioritized. For everyday internet users, this incident serves as a reminder that the online spaces we frequently visit may not be as secure as they appear, and the moderators and administrators who shape our digital experiences often operate with limited oversight and resources. The 4chan hack is a wake-up call for the entire internet, said digital rights advocate Miguel Hernandez. It reminds us that the boundaries between different online communities are porous, that old grudges never truly die in the digital age, and that the very platforms we use to communicate can be turned against us. In the end, perhaps the most profound lesson of the 4chan hack is that on the internet, the hunters can always become the hunted. No platform, no matter how notorious or powerful, is immune to the very forces it unleashes, and in the dark corners of the digital world, Anonymous is always watching, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As we move forward in this increasingly chaotic online era, one question remains: who's next?